The question is that the motion be agreed to. The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, I read a quote in the Listener the other day that I think applies well to the opposition parties, especially at the end of that speech. It says, "Politics is the art of looking for trouble, finding it everywhere, diagnosing it incorrectly and applying the wrong remedies." And if ever you heard that, we've just heard it from the Leader of the Opposition. Actually, the owner of that quote was Groucho Marx. So be it. But you know, we hear from Angry Andrew again that regional New Zealand is in deep crisis. Well, thank God the Labor Party have declared another crisis, because that means that the regions are about to take off. But out there in the regions, we're out there.
Point of order, Ron Mark.
A member pulled me up on a point of order for referring to a member, in fact the Honourable Maggie Barry, only
order,
by
can
her
I just have the
Christian
point
name.
of order, please?
And the point of order is she referred to, well, I'm not going to repeat the epithet, but Andrew.
Order.
Andrew,
The member
didn't use his full
will
name.
assume a seat. Order. When the comment was made, I called order. It's not helpful to the order of the House to talk to any member like that. It's a complete lack of respect for any member of this House. I'd be grateful if all members would refrain from such language in the future. The Honourable Anne Tolley.
So, Mr Speaker, we're out there in the regions and we're out there and we're getting the job done. And I don't often get the opportunity to talk about my electorate in the House, but I'm going to do so today, because actually I represent a very large and diverse electorate that runs from Gisborne right up the East Cape, out across the Eastern Bay of Plenty, right across to the edge of Te Puke, and then right down to the top of the Rotorua Lakes. And takes in places like Murupara and Galatea that there wouldn't be many people in this House that have actually been and visited. It's a fantastic place, and it's got a heap going for it, not the least being fantastic weather. Now, yep, it does have some tough issues. It is one of the poorest regions in the country, and it has some major difficulties with things like benefit dependency, gang membership, etc., etc. But it has so much going for it, and I want to talk about that today, because this government is out there in my electorate and in many others around the country doing the job that New Zealanders elected it to do. So if we just have a look at education, this government is investing in education in the Eastern Bay of Plenty in particular. There's a new kura going to be built in Whakatane. The Associate Minister of Education came into a hopi last week and announced $13.5 million rebuild of the Ahopi Beach Primary School. They've been working for 7 years. They've got leaky buildings, they've got asbestos, you name it, and a $13.5 million rebuild of that school. And that's on top of, when you go over to Kawerau, there's a $15.6 million rebuild of Tarawera High over there. Looking fantastic, about to be opened in the next couple of months, that this government invested in that area in education so that those kids get a good chance in life. And there are 3 communities of schools in the Eastern Bay of Plenty. 3 groups of schools working together, focused on lifting student achievement, because they know that's what's going to make the difference in the lives of those children. Economic development. We hear the opposition talking about a lack of economic development. Well, this government has worked with all the regional leaders in what's called the wider Bay of Plenty, that is, goes right down to Taupo, Rotorua, Tauranga and across to Opotiki. And they've produced the Toi Moana Bay of Plenty growth study. One of the major features of that growth study is Opotiki aquaculture. And for those of you in the House that haven't heard me talk about this for the last 10 years, this is a huge opportunity for Opotiki to have, which has already established a mussel farm offshore. They are providing spat all over New Zealand. They are growing the biggest, fattest, juiciest mussels. And Mr Speaker, there's so much that I want to talk about, and I've only touched on a very small part. This government has been working with the Opotiki now. The Johnny-come-latelys, I have to say, Labor's turning up there now saying this is a great project. They did absolutely zip for them when they were in government. They turned their backs on Opotiki when they were in government, But this is the government that is out there in the regions, that is doing it, that is working alongside local government, is working alongside businesses, growing economic development and helping New Zealand out in regional parts of New Zealand get a good living and have the opportunities for their children that we all want. I think this government is really getting on with the job.